Tonight, the president calls for global partnership to tackle the challenges of development in order to make Nigeria and the world a better place. Lagos State government shuts down college indefinitely pending outcome of investigation into death of students. Police in Imo State arrest cleric over his alleged involvement in the kidnapping of a Catholic priest. And World Health Organization raises alarm over potential spike in Omicron infections as the new COVID-19 variant is detected in 38 countries. Plus, international news from our studio in London.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's forex reserves dropped further by over $124 million to $41 billion week on week.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's Folashade Oluwafemi Ayo sets new world record after winning gold in the women's 86 kg category at the Power Para Lifting Championship.
And from Abuja, the Association of Fulani Cattle Breeders protests alleged attack on members in parts of the country, calls on the National Human Rights Commission to intervene.
We begin outside the shores of the country in the United Arab Emirates with the president's call for global partnership to guarantee sustainable development in the nations. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this during his presentation at the Nigerian National Day as part of the ongoing Expo 2020 in Dubai. He describes the theme of the Expo as apt, as it enables countries to design the future they want. Our Dubai correspondent, Mayo Adeguke, brings us more.
Music fills the Al Wasl Dome. It's Nigeria's National Day at the World Expo 2020 Dubai, and the official delegation here means business.
UAE is Nigeria's largest trading partner in the Middle East. Nigeria's export value to UAE in 2020 stood at $25,493,000. However, UAE is not among the top 10 destinations for Nigerian products. It is therefore our hope that both countries will leverage on the opportunities offered by the expo to increase their economic and trade relations.
The goal of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment for today's event is to generate awareness and elicit robust support for two of Nigeria's most high-impact developmental programs. And these are: one, driving strategic and financial investments into real sector transformation, and two, repositioning Nigeria as a major international supply chain partner to other nations.
191 other countries are participating, which presents a platform to attract investors. Nigeria is reportedly in talks with host country UAE over a $2 billion investment.
They even want to see how we can sign some memorandum of understanding, but because some of the documentation didn't come on time, so we're looking maybe they might come over to Nigeria.
This business briefing paves way for some entertainment by music star Tenny. President Muhammadu Buhari arrives with UAE Minister of Culture, Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan.
As a host of Expo 2020 Dubai, we are adamant about ensuring that Expo 2020 is a fruitful mega event, not only for the UAE, but for our international, regional, and global partners.
President Buhari shares Nigeria's readiness for global partnerships.
The theme of the Expo, connecting the minds and creating the future, is apt as it challenges us all to work for the future we want. The concerted efforts by world leaders working together enabled us to limit the catastrophic consequences of this pandemic. Such level of continuing understanding and pragmatic partnerships are needed and must be reinforced to ensure that our world is a better place that addresses humanity's common challenges to guarantee sustainable development and progress for the global community. The Nigerian delegation is participating in this expo with great prospects for positive outcomes while assuring the world of our determination and readiness to partner with relevant investors in our bid to tackle a number of challenges to make Nigeria a better country.
Formalities done, they proceed to the Nigerian Pavilion for a tour, which ends the president's visit to the expo. And with the official flag off, Nigeria should begin to take full advantage of the opportunities available at the expo. From the Nigerian Pavilion, Maya Adegoke for Channels Television News.
Back home, the Lagos State government has ordered the indefinite closure of Dowen College, a private school in the Lekki area of Lagos. This is coming 2 days after a 12-year-old student of the college died in controversial circumstances. The decision by the Lagos State government follows a meeting between the State Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, and the school management and staff. She says the school will remain shut pending the outcome of the investigation into the death of the student.
It's closing hours at Dowen College, a co-educational school in Lekki area of Lagos. Parents and guardians of day students hang around the school premises to pick up their awards under close watch by security personnel. 12-year-old Sylvester Romani Jr. would have been one of these boarding students crossing over to their hostels, but he's dead. He died under controversial circumstances on Tuesday in Warri, Delta State. The parents are too distraught to speak, but a member of the family has been speaking out on the issue, mostly through social media posts. He says 3 students of the college were mentioned in the alleged beating of Junior over his refusal to join a fraternity that eventually led to his death, a claim the school authority debunks.
And all through it was pain around the hip, nothing else. They did X-ray, no scar, nothing. So we were wondering the source of this issue of somebody beating up our son in the hotel. So it's still a mystery to us.
The school authority insists internal investigation has been conducted among students.
Monday morning, after the assembly, from about 8:30 to 9 in the morning, we commenced the investigation. We started first with all his friends, 2 of the boys in the same class with him, in the same hostel with him, confessed that they've been best of friends since they are the one in JS1. So that all they knew was that he told them, and those he played football with also confirmed that the only thing they knew was that he played football. They played on Saturday, nothing. Then they played on Sunday again before the fall, and there was nothing. Did you hear of him reporting to you that somebody beat him up? They said no. Everybody we interviewed up to about 15. None. So after that one. Meanwhile, along the line when we were doing it, that same uncle that came to pick him up on Tuesday came back on that Monday. We invited the boys again afresh in the presence of the guardian. He also interviewed them himself, one-on-one. Then later we invited the boys mentioned. He interviewed them one-on-one himself. Believe me, sincerely, the man was convinced that there was nothing.
There's more facts unfold in this sudden loss. Nigerians await the outcome of police investigation and independent inquiries set up by the Lagos State Ministry of Education. Their hope is that the cause of death of this innocent boy will finally be unraveled.
Staying in Lagos, the Defend Lagos Coalition has thrown its weight behind the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu's Walk for Peace. The spokesperson of the group, Declan Ihekaire, says all they want to experience in the state is peace and will do all they can to ensure that any form of destructive protest does not take place. The group, which is an amalgamation of over 60 civil society organizations, also appeals to the state government to implement the recommendations of the white paper on the judicial panel report.
We wish to commend the Lagos State government for keeping faith with the 14-day timeline ever set for the release of the white paper. We hold the view on the white paper is a win-win for both the government and the genuine answers campaigners. We urge the government to begin the full implementation of all the recommendations that are within its ambit without delay. We appeal to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to rally the presidency, the National Economic Council, the leadership of the party, the Police Service Commission, and the Special and Inspector General of Police, amongst others, to push for necessary reforms in the police. The Defend Lagos Coalition hereby commends Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for the exemplary spirit of stewardship displayed in reaching out to some of the leaders of the NSAS protest movement during his broadcast on Tuesday, 30th November 2021. As a coalition, we disagree with those who have criticized the governor for reaching out to the NSAS protester leaders. Please be rest assured that you will not walk alone.
Over in Imo State, the police have arrested a man said to be the pastor of the Apostolic Church of Christ, Izuchukwu Anomolo, for his alleged involvement in the kidnap of a Catholic priest, Reverend Father Fidelis Ikemba. He was paraded alongside 28 other suspected criminals at the State Police Command headquarters in Owerri. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Rabiu Hussaini, vowed that the command will tackle criminality in the state head-on, especially as the Yuletide approaches.
It's a busy day at the headquarters of the Imo State Police Command in Owerri, the state capital, as suspects arrested for various crimes, including a father of 5 who claims to be a pastor for his alleged involvement in the kidnap of a Catholic priest. The police commissioner attributes his command's success to the partnership with other security agencies and community stakeholders in the state.
It will interest you to know that a total of 29 suspects were arrested in the commission of various crimes in different places, especially kidnapping and armed robbery.
45-year-old Catholic priest Reverend Father Fidelis Ikemba, who was kidnapped by gunmen in September, narrates his experience.
6 of them with a gun descended on my Camry car, and they asked me to force me out. But in fact, I resisted them. But I wanted them to shoot me there instead of following them out. But eventually they subdued me, and they took me out from my car and then pinned me down inside my Camry and took me off.
I'm not proud of.
Pastor Izuchukwu Anoloba, one of the alleged masterminds of the kidnap of the Reverend Father, confessed to the crime, blaming his actions on the economy.
I got almost 1.something million. So I used the money to establish myself. In Lagos? Yes, in Lagos. And at the end of the day, I dropped everything crime.
Elsewhere, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has recovered local and foreign-made rifles from some hoodlums at their hideouts across the state.
We got information about the location where these criminal gangs used to keep the rifle when they are not in use. So whenever they want to use, they go there. So we laid ambush for some days. We couldn't arrest anybody, but we were able to recover the arms.
With this renewed vigor by security operatives in Imo State to stamp out criminality, it is expected to boost the confidence of residents and security agencies to provide a safer environment, especially in this Yuletide.
In part 2, after the break, court sentences retired customs officer and 2 other persons to 16 years in jail for illegal importation of 661 pump-action rifles into the country. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The president calls for global partnership to tackle challenges of development in the world. Lagos State government shuts down Dowen College indefinitely, pending outcome of an investigation into the death of a student. Police in Imo State arrest pastor over his alleged involvement in the kidnapping of a Catholic priest. And WHO raises alarm over potential spike in Omicron infections as a new COVID-19 variant is detected in 38 countries. politics, where frontline advocates of a bill seeking for more women representation at the national and state assemblies have been strong cases for the speedy passage of the bill called Seats to Elect Her. At a town hall on Channels Television, some of the sponsors and supporters of the bill call for the support of both the political parties and some of their fellow lawmakers in ensuring the bill is passed into law.
It is so sad that when issues like this are brought, even while they are not even sitting in the chamber, one person will go out and start calling, Senator Olujimi is here on the floor. Please come back, and let's kill the bill. It's so sad, honestly.
That's what happens on the floor.
Yes. And you know, as if we are foreigners or we are not there, the same sisters, daughters, wives, you know, we are not talking about even ourselves. We are talking about Nigeria and the future of Nigeria. So my biggest fear is the National Assembly. In the amendment of the party constitution, we have done our best, and even with our leader here, Barrister Ebere, we have done our best to make sure that even in the political, you know, party leadership, the structure is changed. Because if you remember in the 2019 general election, during the primaries, there were a lot of women who contested. And what will happen? You know, to our disappointment, during the election, we saw that many of the women were just kicked out, you know, deliberately by the political parties. So, number one is my colleagues. Second is the political parties. Since we do not have the independent candidature yet, the next issue is the political parties. They need to be, you know, carried on board.
The past is giving you a leverage to move forward, especially when you have the speaker behind you.
Yes, and this is first time a presiding officer is co-sponsoring a bill on women inclusion. Other presiding officers, sorry to say it here, once somebody raised constitutional point of order, he upheld it, and that's it. But this one, he said, I am signing into it. And immediately, Speaker signed, they said, people started signing into it. And especially our Northern brothers. So apart from that, before we brought this bill on the floor of the House, because we know what it means for a bill to pass through first reading, and they will be waiting for the day of second reading. You don't need to even finish. Once you say second reading now? Yes, they will say constitutional point of order. So we moved a step further to amend the section 42 of the Constitution to say, except on issue of gender. You understand? So we removed that barrier. There shall be no discrimination. We said we must discriminate on the issue of gender.
And to the judiciary, a federal high court sitting in Lagos today convicted and sentenced a retired customs officer, Mahmood Hassan, and two others to a total of 16 years in prison for conspiracy and unlawful importation of 661 pump-action rifles, unlawful importation of prohibited firearms, forgery, uttering of forged documents, as well as bribery. The other convicts are Oscar Okafor and Donatus Achinulo. While delivering the judgment in a charge brought against the convicts on count 2 of the offence of illegal importation of 661 pump-action rifles, Justice Ayokunle Faji sentenced them to 8 years in prison. On count 1, which borders on conspiracy, Justice Faji found the defendants guilty and also sentenced them to 8 years each. The court also ordered the forfeiture of the properties of the convicts to the federal government as provided for by law under which they were charged. The sentences are to run concurrently. And now to our Abuja studios, where Markwe Ogun Yusuf has some more stories. Hello, Markwe.
Hello, Millicent. It's good to see you. We start right here in the FCT, where the Association of Fulani Cattle Breeders have approached the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja to protest alleged extrajudicial killing of their members in the southern parts of the country. They were received by the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, who gave the assurances of the Commission's resolve to investigate the allegations. Mr. Ojukwu also called for town hall meetings with communities in the affected areas on the need for peaceful coexistence.
There is need for peace for us to develop as a nation. So
My response is they have done the right thing by not taking the law into their hands and complaining. And on our own part, we are going to engage the authorities. We'll engage the police to know why this will be happening in these communities, because these are early warnings. You know, if nothing is done in this kind of thing, these are the kind of things that can degenerate in the future. So there is need for those who are behind this to be arrested and also made to face the law, because this is a country of laws. This is a country under a constitution. People cannot do anything they like and get away with it. Whatever behavior anybody does must be under the law, must be under the constitution. And I don't see any part of our constitution that authorizes anybody to kill a fellow Nigerian, burn the person, and go and bury without any consequence. The only authority that can order that somebody should be killed in this country is a court of competent jurisdiction. No individual, no matter how highly placed, has that authority. So we are going to swing into investigation. We are going to engage with the police to find out what happened.
And in the northwest of the country, at least 2 people have been reported killed and over 20 others abducted by bandits who attacked Ungwan Gimbia community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State in the early hours of today. Ungwan Gimbia is on the outskirts of Kaduna metropolis. The spokesman of the Kaduna State Police Command, Mohammed Jalige, says the bandits stormed the community at about 1 a.m. and opened fire while the residents were still asleep, killing 2 people and going away with 20 residents before the arrival of security operatives. In a related development, bandits also abducted 13 people and killed 1 after they invaded Kenwa Iswa Kugu ward of Dutse local government area in Jigawa State. In the south of the country, indigenous oil and gas firm Aiteo Eastern Exploration and Production Company has given the assurance that the spill in the Santa Barbara River in Nembe local government area of Bayelsa State will be contained in a matter of days. This is according to the company's global director in charge of asset protection and community matters, Mr. Andrew Oru, who visited Nembe to inspect the ongoing efforts to contain the leak.
An unexpected ecological disaster caused by the blowing up of a wellhead operated jointly by the NNPC and Aiteo Eastern Exploration and Production Company. Since then, all hands have been on deck to ensure that the spill is brought to a stop. This visit by the Aiteo team, led by one of its directors, is to further demonstrate the company's commitment to solving this problem as soon as possible. The oil well is being pumped with chemicals, which the company believes is critical to containing the leakage. From there, the delegation moves to Opunembe Kingdom, where the Aiteo director sets the record straight.
The pressure of the well has been substantially diminished already, because all the chemicals that are needed to put the pressure under control have been fed in continuously, and the pressure has started going down. You know, this spill actually is a special type. Well, actually is a gas well, 80% gas and about 20% oil. That is why you see it is relatively easy for us to contain the amount of oil that spills out.
Just as it did immediately the spill was first reported, the company is donating another batch of relief materials to the communities.
We are presenting 10 cows, 500 bags of rice, 500 cartons of Indomie, 500 cartons of water, 500 tubers of yam.
As a way of reducing the hardship being caused by the spill, a gesture the community receives with open arms.
We are very grateful. We are promising you that we are not receiving them to be used here in this community only. We are going down to the fishing ports to give the people who are directly impacted of this spill that is going on.
ITO Eastern Exploration and Production Company says it's not only targeting to stop the spill, but to kill the well and help the communities recover from its effect. Hopefully, this will bring closure to the unfortunate incident.
When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's forex reserves drop further by $124 million to $41 billion week on week. That's on Business News. You join us again.
Total Energies Marketing Nigeria PLC has unveiled new packs for its lubricants to reinforce brand awareness, tackle counterfeiting and enhance sustainability. The managing director of Total Energies, Samba Sheye, says the move is part of the company's policy to keep reinventing itself and offer customers the best of service.
The general manager, human...
Something new is happening at Total Energies, and management, staff of the company, as well as partners and customers are gathered to be part of history.
We can do much better. We can do much better.
Since its change of name to reflect the company's bid for cleaner energy and improved climate change, Total Energies says it has continued to demonstrate commitment to achieving that goal.
By year 2050, Total plans that in all its operated sites, the GHG footprint are greatly reduced and eliminated as much as possible.
The need to accentuate brand awareness, curb counterfeiting, and give customers better user experience, according to the management, are a few reasons driving the changes effected on the packs of Total lubricants.
The new and dynamic lubricant package being unveiled here today not only portrays performance and innovation at first sight, but a modern, simpler, and more compelling range for all Total Energies automotive lubricants.
Consumers can identify the product they need at a glance, thanks to the color coding. Platinum for top tier, silver for mid-tier, and bronze for entry-range products. Buyers can now zoom in on the products they need by checking the new label, which is much cleaner and easy to read.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the moment we've all been waiting for. I do crave your indulgence to be on your feet. Let's all be on your feet as we unveil, for the very first time, the high-level, revamped, efficient and innovative Total Energies.
The new cans of Total lubricants are color-coded, offer new label designs like a dashboard, and come with specialized caps. Total Energies brand ambassador JJ Okocha says for change is a welcome development.
It's always good to try and improve and reinvent yourself and give them something new, you know, and I'm delighted that Total have done that.
Age-resistant technology.
With the unveiling done, customers can now get to any Total filling station and have a feel of what the company is offering.
And Nigeria's forex seems to be dropping. Teniola Shibole has that story and more from the world of business.
So easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Millicent. Quite right. The country's foreign reserves has recorded another decline following efforts by the central bank to support the naira at the official channels. The latest figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria shows gross reserves closed lower by $124.86 million week on week to about $41 billion as at December the 1st. However, some analysts believe the CBN has sufficient supply to support the FX market over the short term, given inflows from the recently issued Eurobond and the IMF's special drawing rights. The governor of Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, has presented a budget of 483.17 billion naira for the 2022 fiscal year. Christian Budget of Consolidation, the budget estimate has 314.93 billion naira proposed as capital expenditure and 144.76 billion naira for recurrent expenditure. The governor also gave details of how the budget would be funded.
The budget will be funded from the following available and viable sources: Federation Account and Allocation Committee, 13% Oil Mineral Fund, entirely generated revenue, value-added taxes, federal government's bridging facility and reforms, as well as commercial bank loans and grants from international development agencies.
Pan-African mobile telecommunications giant MTN Group is selling 14% of their 79% interest in MTN Nigeria, expanding their shareholder base to include as many Nigerian retail investors as possible. At the launch of the nationwide roadshow in Abuja, MTN Group President and CEO, Mr. Ralph Mupita, describes the move as strategic to building shared value across operations. With 575 million shares on offer at 169 naira per share, retail investors will be gifted one additional share for every 20 shares bought.
It is an early Christmas present from one of the biggest names in the nation's telecommunications industry. MTN Group is selling off 14% of the 79% shares in MTN Nigeria and offers it for sale to retail investors in Nigeria for 169 naira per share. The offer, which opened at 8 a.m. on the 1st of December 2021, will close at 5 p.m. on 14th of December 2021. The minimum subscription open to investors is 20 shares to be held for 12 months with an incentive of one free share for every 20 shares. Up for grabs are 575 million shares at 169 naira per share. MTN's Group President and Chief Executive Officer is excited for the Nigerian shareholders who will be joining MTN on the next phase of their journey.
We felt that as MTN Group, it was important in particular to bring in retail, everyday Nigerians who may be customers, may not be customers, to say we want to participate and be on the journey with MTN Nigeria.
Value for your money is MTN's promise to Nigerians, and they have a 20-year record proving your investments are in safe hands.
In the space of 2 years, we have had a 100% capital appreciation. Now, if you also look at it historically, MTN has been high in declaring dividends. We have a dividend policy that says we pay up to 80% of our profit after tax as dividends, and we pay it twice.
With over 67.5 million subscribers, 6.6 million active mobile users, MTN is active in over 20 countries. However, a third of the company's income comes from Nigeria alone. This offer gives Nigerians an opportunity to enjoy some of the profits by owning a piece of the company.
There's no limit to the quantity of shares that you can buy. So please get online, use the app, use the website, register, buy for yourself, buy for your family, buy for your kids, buy for loved ones, people that work around you, work for you, and participate in the wealth creation for the future.
This roadshow is kicking off in Abuja, but it will for the next 2 weeks go across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. Interested investors can go to www.mtnonline.com/PO for more details and a full directory of authorized receiving agents.
Well, let's check in on the stock market now as the bear maintains its dominance. Will Ibong has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Negative sentiments have dominated the local stock market this week as the NGX records 5 straight days of losses. And the all-share index closed lower again today by 0.19%, leaving the market cap barely hanging on to its 22 trillion naira mark as it lost an additional 41 billion naira. And this is despite having the big guys top today's trade: GTCO, Airtel Africa, and Flour Mills. Now, Airtel Africa's share price gained 5 naira. However, large cap MTN Nigeria ruined the show as it pulled another downer in today's session. Its share value dropped by 2 naira 20 kobo and knocking the market further down. We're still seeing the effects of investors taking position in MTN's latest share offer, which is loaded with incentives. Now, the activity chart also mirrored today's gloomy performance as volume fell to as low as 180 million units from 320 million units traded on Thursday. Now, in the equities market, there can't be losses without some gains. UP CDC PLC notched the top spot for the high-performing stocks, while FTN Cocoa Processors led 17 other decliners. We can only watch while the NGX plays catch-up and possibly stages a monster comeback in next week's trading session. And that's the stock market report. I'm Willie Bung. It's back to you.
And that's business news tonight. It's back to Millicent for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Taniola. Still ahead on the news at 10. WHO raises alarm over potential spike in Omicron infections as the new COVID-19 variant is detected in 38 countries. And more international news from our London studio. Please stay with us. The World Health Organization says Omicron has been detected in 38 countries, but there are no reported deaths so far from the new COVID-19 variant. The WHO says the world should not panic about Omicron, but it should prepare for a potential surge in cases. Let's head over to our London studio as Simon Pusey has more stories in around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. President Joe Biden has unveiled stricter COVID-19 travel rules as the US confirmed a handful of cases of the Omicron variant from coast to coast. From next week, international travelers to the US, including Americans, must take a COVID test no more than 1 day before they travel, regardless of vaccination status. Mask requirements on planes, trains and buses will also be extended until mid-March. 10 cases of the Omicron variant have now been detected in the US, in California, Colorado, Minnesota and New York. The Kremlin has said work is underway to arrange a video call between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his US counterpart Joe Biden. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia and the United States positions diverged on many points. It's after US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met for talks in Stockholm. Ukraine and NATO have voiced concern about Russian troop movements towards the border. Russia says it is responding to threatening behavior from NATO and Ukraine. Alec Baldwin has admitted his acting career may be over after the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of the film Rust.
I couldn't give about my career anymore.
Is it over?
But why? Well, it could be.
Mr. Baldwin also said he didn't pull the trigger of the gun during the incident on the 21st of October in New Mexico.
I cocked the gun and I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
Mr. Baldwin is best known for his performance in the US sitcom 30 Rock, as well as his impersonation of Donald Trump on the sketch show Saturday Night Live. After 24 hours of political turmoil, Austria's ruling People's Party has chosen Interior Minister Karl Nehammer to take over as leader of both party and country. Mr. Nehammer will be the party's third choice of chancellor in just 3 weeks, after Sebastian Kurz stood down in October. Mr. Kurz is under investigation after he was implicated in a corruption scandal and stepped down as party leader on Thursday. Ethiopia's Education Ministry has announced a temporary closure of all secondary schools to allow students to help in harvesting crops for Ethiopians on the war front.
They should know that they have been defeated and surrender.
It comes after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, here seen speaking to government forces, announced a 6-month state of emergency to contain a Tigrayan rebel advancement towards the capital. The Education Minister said the schools would be closed for at least a week, with the government saying more than 1.2 million students were already out of school due to the ongoing conflict in the north. Millions of livestock have died in northern Kenya as the worst drought in a decade threatens survival in the region. Local officials say up to 70% of cattle and 60% of goats have died of starvation, thirst or disease due to lowered immunity. Drought conditions in the region are predicted to persist until at least mid-next year, putting lives at risk. Neighbouring Somalia has declared a humanitarian emergency. Germany's military has honoured outgoing Chancellor Angela Merkel with their highest ceremony for a civilian.
Nun wird es an der nachfolgenden Regierung liegen.
In a speech, she wished the next government the best and believed they would continue to shape the future well. A band then played an eclectic mix of music of her own choosing. After 16 years in office, she has navigated Germany and Europe through multiple crises and been a champion of liberal democracy. She'll be succeeded next week by Olaf Scholz. The The Pope has called for healing during an outdoor mass in Cyprus, within sight of the borderline that has divided the island for nearly half a century.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
The Pope spoke on subjects that included healing and shared pain, topics that touch a chord with all Cypriots. The island has been split in two since 1974, and tens of thousands of Greek and Turkish Cypriots remain internally displaced. And finally, an aquarium in Budapest has come up with a novel way to celebrate Christmas: underwater Santas. Dressed as Father Christmas, several divers fed the 4 hungry sharks in the aquarium. Many of the children in attendance seemed more intrigued by the divers themselves than the actual fish. They also installed a small Christmas tree at the bottom of the 1.4 million litre tank and decorated it with seashells. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
And now to sports. Nigeria's Folashade Oluwafemi Ayo has stunned the sporting world after setting a world new record to win gold in the women's 86-kilogram category at the Para Powerlifting Championship in Georgia. Gold was already guaranteed after the second round when she took an 11-kilogram lead over her competitors. A third round lift of 148 kilograms cemented her gold status and her third world championship title. The Paralympic champion went on to set a new world's best of 152.5 kilograms, which is the 4th world record she has smashed this year. FIFA has ruled an appeal from South Africa relating to a decisive 2022 World Cup qualifying match against Ghana as inadmissible. FIFA's disciplinary committee declared the protest inadmissible as it did not meet relevant requirements, but also adds the decision is subject to appeal. The South Africa Football Association, SAFA, included allegations of match fixing, match manipulation, including corruption and bribery, when it lodged a complaint with football's world governing body. Manchester United's new interim manager, Ralf Rangnick, is confident he could get the squad firing on all cylinders again. The 63-year-old German was appointed on Monday on a contract until the end of the season after the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and will work in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. The former RB Leipzig boss took charge for the first time at today's training session, having been granted a work visa this week ahead of Crystal Palace's league visit to Old Trafford on Sunday.
Yeah, I would like to say hello to everybody. Thanks for coming and getting up that early. To be honest, in my career, it's probably the most early press conference in my life. I haven't had a press conference at 9 a.m., but due to the fact that we have the next game coming up on Sunday in 2 days' time, and I will have the first training session with the players, there was no alternative to having a press conference at 9, and I'm very much looking forward to the next couple of days, weeks and months working together with you.
That'll be all on sports. It's back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Today, President Muhammadu Buhari made a passionate appeal for global partnership to tackle the challenges of development to make Nigeria and the world a better place. Also today, bandits killed at least 2 people and abducted over 20 others in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, just as another set of bandits abducted 13 people and killed another person in Dutse ward of Zaria local government area of the state. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.